With another Mary Truth Talks. Welcome back, guys. This is the MTT show, and I am your host, Marianne. So before we begin, we have a lot to talk about. There's been a very hefty week, a lot of news, a lot of stories. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and X, Mary, Mary _ truths with an S, Mary _ truths with an S. And if you believe in the wellness mentality and you support being healthy and living a healthy lifestyle, support at MB Elevate, and support our Patreon. I post weekly on Patreon, but I am coming up with new workouts and I'm really, really excited about, so tune into that as well. All right. And of course, everybody who has subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. Honestly, it's because of you guys what gives me the motivation and last two to continue doing what we're doing. So we're clearly doing something right. So I appreciate you for subscribing. Those who haven't, subscribe, like, and share. Help us grow the show. And those of you who are haters out there, y'all are my number one fans, bro. I'm telling you right now. I read every single comment, no matter how long it is. I don't respond as, with a lengthy comment back, but I do respond because I want you guys to know that even though I know you don't like me and what I have to say, I like the fact that you're watching and that you're engaging, and that's really what matters. So thank you guys. To those haters out there, I appreciate you too, and subscribe. All right, so let's get on with the show, shall we? All right, so we got Charlie Kirk case conspiracies. That's happening now, because of course people have to start coming up with a bunch of ideas. The status quo can be it, so we have to come up with other ideas. So we'll talk about that. Executive order on declaring Antifa a terrorist organization. Interesting. We'll talk about that. Dallas shooter attacks ICE facility. That was, honestly, if this wasn't real, people would think it was a joke because of how retarded it was. Okay, I have to use that word because it really was. And something just broke out recently. A church in Michigan was just attacked, so I want to talk about that because it's breaking news. ICE crackdown in Chicago and Portland. We'll talk about that too. Colombia president gets visa revoked. Oh, that was good. All right, we'll talk about that. He deserved it. James Comey indictment. Well, that's honestly, I love how the media is reacting to this because it's just so biased. It's hilarious. And then pending government shutdown. Will it shut down? Will it not shut down? Do I care if it does? Do I care if it doesn't? We'll find out. All right. Let's get on with Charlie Kirk case conspiracy. So before we watch this clip on Instagram that he posted, rest in peace, Charlie. He started talking about how he wasn't okay with how certain Jews who have a lot of influence and power were spending their money. And he also was criticizing the Israeli government and how they were handling Gaza. Doesn't mean he was anti-Israel. He was very pro-Israel because of Jerusalem and the Bible, and he's a Christian, or was a Christian. But now a lot of people are speculating that perhaps Israel has something to do with his assassination, which I think is a very far stretch. However, the reason why is because of his clip. So let's check it out. I didn't bring my glasses. Darn. All right, I'm ready.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
Okay. So that's what people are speculating, right? That perhaps, and the fact that right after what happened with Charlie Kirk, BB, I can never say his name, so I'm just gonna say BB, came out and made this speech about how, Charlie Kirk was like a good person, and and then a lot of people are saying that he was using the assassination as a way to humanize himself, even though he's like, hurting innocent people in Gaza. I am not there. I mean, even Nick Fuentes, who was a very anti-Israel person, is definitely not there either. So I'm just not there. I don't think that the reason, I don't think that the Israeli government funded this assassin to kill Charlie Kirk. I think you're giving them way too much credit, honestly. I think people give Jews, well, not Jews, but the Israeli government a little too much credit and too much power if you actually think that they have this like need to want to assassinate somebody that actually was trying to get the youth on the Jewish side. That doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't hold water. But at the end of the day, people will believe whatever they want to believe. So the next one is that the messages of the assassin could be fake. I don't think they're fake. I just don't think, I don't think all of it has been given to the public. And I also think that some of it looks like it's been erased, because I don't know if you can find the messages or not, because a lot of news outlets have it. But if you look at the messages, it's mainly the assassin responding the entire time, not his trans furry boyfriend or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be a bigot. I'm just, that's what they call him, is a trans furry person, because he's into that stuff. But it's possible that the messages, maybe the trans person could have erased some of his messages to not incriminate himself. That's possible. And perhaps the federal government has not given us all the information on the messages, which is probably even more plausible. But at the end of the day, we don't really know. Were you able to find it?
That's something.
Okay. Oh, well, you can read that because I can't see anything.
Hold on.
Okay. But you see what I'm saying? Well, you're looking at him right there. Like, it looks like he's having a conversation with himself, not with his boyfriend or partner or whatever. Roommate. However you want to call him.
I mean, he's responding back.
That's one of the screenshots. There's another screenshot of him just, like, blowing up that other person's phone. At least it looks like that way. It looks like it's, like, 4 messages back to back, and the other person doesn't respond back until like way later. So like, for all we know, he could have erased his messages, but then now it's suspicious because it looks like a fake message. But that's more plausible than Israel killing Charlie Kirk. So I mean, that's just, again, that's me. That's my speculation. Were you able to find it?
No.
Okay, cool. Well, you guys can find it on your own. But that's possible. I think that maybe the messages are fake, or maybe what was given was not technically real, because maybe they were like, messages were removed, and then it looks like, the only person who is guilty or to blame is Tyler Robinson, not the furry dude. But then there's also speculation that in this Discord chat, there was this like trans furry community that knew about the assassination before it happened. So there's also that. Regardless, the FBI needs to actually do their due diligence, and we need to figure out everything as soon as possible, because the last thing we need is for more conspiracies to come out and for people to lose more trust than they already have on the federal government. I mean, I think we did a live about this a couple months ago, how like since the 1960s, we've lost like over 40% of trust or something like that. So,
yeah, we had a live like that.
So I think that they need to do.
It was like 60% actually.
Yeah, okay, well,
it was pretty high.
That's even worse. So I think they need to, get it together because people are already coming up with their own conclusions, and that's the last thing they need. And then the last one, which is where Nick Fuentes is Erica Kirk becoming CEO is suspicious. So he says that nobody knew who Erica Kirk was before the assassination. She was only seen walking with Charlie Kirk or like doing some type of speeches, but she wasn't really in the spotlight at all until this happened. And then all of a sudden now she's becoming the CEO of the organization when nobody knows anything about her. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's wrong to assume that. I think, why not? Because we didn't know anything about her at all. And I've been following Charlie Kirk for a long time, and I didn't even know, to be honest with you, I had no idea. Well, I mean, I knew he had kids, but I didn't even know who Erica Kirk was. So it's possible. I don't know. People are coming up with conclusions that perhaps it was an arranged marriage because, he was like a known figure already and he was not married and, he needed to have a woman in his life. And considering he's a conservative, conservatives are meant to, push this monogamous relationship, have kids, agenda. So it doesn't make sense for him to be single with no kids and he's pushing this agenda. So that's plausible too. We don't really know. But only way to find out is for the FBI to do their due diligence and actually get to it. I mean, they're not going to actually tell us anything about Erica Kirk, but at least about the assassin. So let's move on to more stuff related to the assassin because he was very pro-Antifa, even though people claim he wasn't. That's why. And somebody that says anti-fascist is pro-Antifa. Like, you don't have to be waving the flag or saying I am Antifa to say that they're pro-Antifa. If you're saying anti-fascist, then yes, you are pro-Antifa. That's just period, by default. So Donald Trump is declaring Antifa as a terrorist organization. So let's take a look at that video really quick, and then I'm going to read the executive order.
Questions, if I may, on the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk. Government and local officials said that Antifa inscriptions were engraved in these bullet casings that killed Charlie Kirk. It appears to be a trend, especially after what we saw in the Annunciation Church shooting, Catholic Church shooting. Additionally, Stephen Miller recently commented on the rise in this kind of violence, saying there is a domestic terrorist movement growing in this country. But the president is designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. I'm wondering, what is the approach to holding these people accountable, just to ensure that violence like this just is eradicated moving forward?
Sure. Well, Antifa is going to be designated a domestic terrorist organization. The president intends to sign that executive order very soon as it's drafted, as soon as today, later this afternoon. And this is something the president campaigned on because we have seen a rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa radical people across this country who subscribe to this group. And unfortunately, it's gone widely uncovered by many in the legacy media. It also went completely ignored by the previous administration. Not anymore. Not only, as you mentioned, were the bullet casings subscribed with Antifa mottos, if you will, in the heinous assassination of Charlie, but there have also been more examples than I could read off for you here in this briefing room today of violence from Antifa. I will just read a few. In July 2025, several members of an Antifa cell ambushed and opened fire on officers at an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, shooting one officer in the neck. Also in July 2025, 3 Antifa members were charged with assaulting a police officer during a violent riot outside an ICE facility in Portland, which for weeks prior had been under siege from the local Antifa terror cell. In February 2024, a transgender Antifa terrorist detonated an explosive device outside of the office of the Republican Attorney General of Alabama. In July 2023, Antifa members linked to abortionist group Jane's Revenge firebombed pro-life facilities and vandalized churches. In January 2022, a suspected Antifa member was arrested for bringing a pipe bomb to a pro-Trump event. In January 2021, an Antifa supporter threatened to shoot police officers and Trump supporters outside of the Florida State Capitol building. Again, I could continue to list many more examples for those in the...
They're insane. Cool. All right, so designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. Okay, so Section 1. I'm only going to read Section 1. Antifa is a terrorist threat. Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law. It uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence and terrorism nationwide to accomplish these goals. This campaign involves coordinated efforts to obstruct enforcement of federal laws through armed standoffs with law enforcement, organized riots, violent assaults on immigration and custom enforcement and other law enforcement officers, and routine doxing of other threats against political figures and activists. Antifa recruits, trains, and radicalizes young Americans to engage in this violence and suppression of political activity, then employs elaborate means and mechanisms to shield the identities of its operatives, conceal its funding sources and operations in an effort to frustrate law enforcement and recruit additional members. Individuals associated with and acting on behalf of Antifa further coordinated with other organizations and entities for the purpose of spreading, fomenting, and advancing political violence and suppressing lawful political speech. This organized effort designed to achieve policy objectives by coercion and intimidation is domestic terrorism. All right, so this is what I think they're going to do. I don't know, I'm just some random chick on the internet speaking her mind. So there is no actual Antifa organization, and the leftists are very aware of that. I had somebody tell me recently, oh, but, Antifa's not an organization, it's an ideology. Yes, it is an idea, but this idea is creating violence, and it's creating property damages, and it's hurting people. So just because it's an idea does not mean it's not a threatening idea. So because it's not an actual organization like ISIS, for example, or like the cartels, you can't actually go after it as if it's a domestic terrorist organization, because it's not. It's an idea, and that's how they get away with what they're getting away with. So what you can do is tell the tech companies, all right, well, anybody who is claiming they are Antifa, you got to give me their information. I know that's like, whoa, that's fascist, but it's like, hey, the problem here is the Biden-Harris administration already did this. And they didn't do it to make streets safer. They did it to censor people. So you already opened that door when you did that. So now they're going to do the same thing. And their reason is actually more reasonable. They're going to be like, well, first of all, you already did it. So you already did the precedent. And second of all, I'm doing it because these people are creating havoc on our streets. So, and then at the same time, now, for example, Elon Musk is going to have to make a choice. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, they're going to have to make a choice. Are they going to go against government? Because if they do, that's a problem. Because then they're going to have to get questioned by the government, and nobody wants that. Nobody in any corporation wants to get questioned by government. That's why they just say, all right, what do you want me to do? All right, fine, I'll do it. And then they complain about it later, like Mark Zuckerberg did. He complained about it later. After Biden was already out of the office, he was like, oh, he made me do it. He could have not done it. He could have chosen not to do it. He did it because at the end of the day, that was his choice. He wanted to do that. Whether he was okay with it or not, you made that decision. Now you're going to make your bed with it. Because now that we know that you're going to listen to the federal government, now this government is going to tell you to do something else. And they're going to be like, well, you listen to that government, so why are you going to listen to this government? So I think that's how they're going to do this. It's not going to be like a crackdown physically. It's going to be a crackdown digitally. People will say, well, that's against the First Amendment. Is it? If you're inciting direct violence against a group of people or against independent people, that goes beyond the First Amendment, because you're inciting actual violence and death threats to people. So I think that I don't have a problem with this if it's only going to target digital platforms and say, hey, this is what I need you to do. Anybody that's going to claim that they're Antifa, you need to give me their information, or you can figure out an algorithm that suppresses their information, or you like suspend their account for a week or whatever. I don't know what you're going to do, but they need to be held accountable. They cannot be spreading this like pro-hate, pro-violence on the internet. Because if they're allowed to do it on the internet, they're gonna think they can do it in physical form. So I think that's what this is gonna be about. Again, I don't know. I can be wrong. I can be totally wrong. I can be super like naive about this. For all I know, it could be what the Democrats are assuming it's gonna be, which is gonna be like a crackdown physically. I don't see that happening. It's because it's just dumb, you know. I'm not saying the Democrats are dumb. I'm just saying it's dumb to assume that he will want to make this hardcore crackdown to make people hate him on all sides, you know. So, because at the end of the day, this guy likes to be liked. He cares about that type of stuff. So I think this is just gonna be, hey, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, you know, whoever else, Silicon Valley, this is what I need you to do. So figure out a way to make this happen. Capiche? Capiche. But again, who knows? You let me know what you think in the comments. So, Dallas shooter. Let's talk about that. So a lot of, I saw this, I don't know his name. I don't really care for his name. But this influencer leftist was claiming the Dallas shooter was a right-winger, because in the ammunition he wrote anti-ICE. He didn't say fuck ICE. He didn't say anti-fascist. He said anti-ICE, and that's what makes him not a leftist. I'm just like, what? What are you talking about, dude? That's like the biggest mental gymnastics you can possibly do. I'm like, right-wingers are actually pro-legal immigration, so they're okay with the immigration crackdown, okay? Sure, maybe we would like for it to not be so, you know, in your face, but at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, there's millions of people in this country that need to get the hell out of here. So, I mean, if that's what you got to do, then we get it. But we're not anti-ICE. That's ridiculous. Even immigrants, legal immigrants, are not anti-ICE. It's so ridiculous and actually offensive if you think people are actually believing that type of stuff. But nonetheless, let's take a look at this.
Today, President Trump used social media to say he's sending U.S. troops to Portland, Oregon, in the latest deployment of forces to an American city. The president, who golfed today in Virginia, described Portland as war-ravaged and called ICE facilities under siege.
It is.
Trump
It's disgusting.
also authorized, quote, full force if necessary. In a statement, Governor Tina Kotek, a Democrat, said there is no national security threat in Portland, adding our communities are safe and calm. Democratic Senator Ron Wyden shared this video showing a quiet scene outside the ICE facility in Portland. The crackdown on illegal immigration has raised tensions nationwide. CBS's Omar Villafranca in Dallas has new reporting following this week's deadly attack on an ICE facility there. Omar.
She looked good.
Good evening, Jerika. 3 detainees were shot at this Dallas ICE facility on Wednesday. 1 died, 2 are in critical condition. And today we talked to the wife of one of the victims who says her husband is clinging to life.
Surveillance video obtained by CBS News shows the moment a gunman shot at detainees and agents who were in a van at a Dallas ICE facility on Wednesday. 31-year-old Miguel Angel Garcia, a Mexican national, was shot at least 8 times and is now on life support.
Incredible,
It's
bro.
been really hard.
8 times.
Stephanie Goffney, a U.S. citizen, is Garcia's wife.
Yes.
She is pregnant and they share 4 children. Goffney says Garcia was going through the citizenship process when he was arrested for a DUI and picked up by ICE. She can't bring herself to think about a future without him.
I'm so tired. like I'm tired of being strong, you know.
Bullets found near the scene included one with the words anti-ICE.
This attack, yet again, underscores the dangers that law enforcement face daily.
Now, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says she's deploying agents to ICE facilities nationwide to protect officers. ICE tactics are inflaming tensions. In New York City, this federal immigration officer seen shoving a woman to the ground in a courthouse has been placed on leave while an investigation is conducted.
As he should. What the hell's wrong with you?
In Maryland, agents detained a man in the middle of an intersection when an officer's gun falls in the street. The agent picks it up and points it at bystanders. Outside a suburban Chicago ICE facility, federal agents used tear gas and pepper balls to disperse protesters.
That
Several
happens
people were arrested.
regularly in protests.
And in Iowa, protests after agents arrested the superintendent of the Des Moines School District, Ian Roberts.
Oh, that was wild.
Officials say he was a fugitive, living and working in the country illegally.
There is much we do not know. However, what we do know is that Dr. Roberts has been an integral part of our school community since he joined over 2 years ago.
Yeah, and he was probably not even supposed to be here, and y'all didn't even check that. All right, we're done. Y'all didn't even check that. That's why he's in this predicament he's in right now. There's a lot of things we don't know. Yeah, that's the problem. You didn't know that his status was not even legal.
That just proves that these school systems, they don't even check backgrounds properly. They just hire whoever.
Do you understand that? How embarrassing is that? How embarrassing is that? And for her to lie and say we did not know, yeah, what that shows is how incompetent you are, that you did not check. Like, it's just so bad. Oh,
there is a lot we do not know, including how to do our job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Facts. Okay, let's watch the next one. So bad. So bad.
First, I want to point out that one of these notes or papers, the sniper explicitly states, yes, it was just me. That statement appears to be correct at this point in the investigation. Notably, these loose notes included a game plan of the attack and target areas at the facility. He called the ICE employees people showing up to collect a dirty paycheck. He wrote that he intended to maximize lethality against ICE personnel and to maximize property damage at the facility. He hoped to minimize any collateral damage or injury to the detainees and any other innocent people.
He failed, clearly.
It seems that he did not intend to kill the detainees or harm them.
Yeah.
It's clear from these notes that he was targeting ICE agents and ICE personnel. The tragic irony for his evil plot here is that it was a detainee who was killed and 2 other detainees that were injured when he fired into the Sally Port. He also hoped his actions would give ICE agents real terror of being gunned down, and he did this to induce constant stress in their lives. He hoped his actions would terrorize ICE employees and interfere with their work, which he called human trafficking. And this, what he did, is the very definition of terrorism.
Yep. All right, we're good.
Again.
Yep. You. Bravo. Yes. Yes. Now that is a true feminist right there. All right, so let's skip the churches are being attacked. We'll end it with that one, and then we'll move on to the Columbia. But let's do the following video.
So we're not gonna do the Michigan church shooting?
No, right now. We'll go back to that.
Oh, we'll go back.
The next one.
Okay.
Is it that one?
Yeah, this is the next one.
Okay. Yeah.
Feds swarm downtown Chicago.
Yep, that's it. Let's watch that. All of this connects.
Now ICE is mobilizing 300 officers in downtown Chicago today. You can see Border Patrol agents in video patrolling along the Chicago River. So this move comes amid growing tension over Operation Midway Blitz, which the Trump administration claims is a crackdown to get dangerous criminals off the streets. News Nation's Mills Hayes is on the ground in downtown Chicago for us. So Mills, what are you seeing? What's the very latest there? Hi, Kelly. Well, Border Patrol agents are making their presence known in their Marine units along the Chicago River, as well as walking in groups of 20 to 50 agents down Michigan Avenue. We saw Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino out there as well, leading the pack. And as this was happening, lots of tourists and residents were taking pictures and confused, trying to figure out why there were so many federal officers on the ground. And of course, Chief Bovino there as well. And we asked him about what they were doing in downtown Chicago. And he told me they're walking downtown to keep the community safe. And we asked him about how long Operation Midway Blitz will last. And he says it's going to last as long as it takes to accomplish the mission.
It's been a smorgasbord of activities. A lot of folks, I'd say the majority, are actually glad we're here. They are congratulating us, saying it's about time you're here. Especially those inner city residents here in Chicago are very glad we're here because oftentimes they're up against that vast illegal migration that took place over the past 4 years. They're the ones dealing with the violence perpetrated by illegal aliens, trained to Aragua, violent gang members that are here in Chicago.
But we spoke with tourists who captured this picture of a family being detained by Border Patrol agents near Millennium Park. They tell me that the baby was crying and that they heard about all the violence in Chicago, but have not felt unsafe until they saw federal officers walking around with guns, and they are not the only ones who feel that way.
That was pretty alarming just to see a group of masked guys walking around with ARs, silenced ARs. It's pretty intimidating, especially for people here.
If you are a federal agent, why are you hiding behind a mask instead of hiding behind a badge? You might as well go ahead and...
What is up with her lips?
Anybody can dress up as an ICE agent and be like, well, I'm here to detain you for no reason. The next thing you know, people are going missing.
For no reason? Oh my god, these people watch way too much CNN. Alright, that's enough. I've had enough of the ignorance. Alright, I've had enough. Okay. Alright, so as a legal immigrant, the reason why people are getting detained is because they, A, don't have their residency card with them. So, first of all, if you're not a citizen, you need to have your residency card at all times. That is a law, okay? Look it up. We looked it up a couple lives ago. And nobody was enforcing that law, which, by the way, is the executive branch's job to enforce laws. And they were not doing that. So immigrants didn't think they had to be walking around with their residency card. But it's like, hello, why not? If you're not a citizen, you do have to walk around with a residency card. That's one. Number two, if there is reasonable suspicion to come up to you as an officer, I'm not even talking about as an ICE agent, as an officer, and they're gonna ask you questions. If you cannot answer those questions in English, which is the language of this country, it might not be a law, but the Constitution is in English. The laws are in English. It's like when you're taught in school, it's in English. You get the point. We're an English-speaking country, and you can't answer these questions in English. That's definitely a reason to then be like, all right, let me see your paperwork. Where is paperwork? And if you're like, oh, I don't have them, well, there you go. Reason for arrest right there, or detainment, however you want to call it. That's just an example. But I'm so tired of Americans, what gets me even more mad is that it's not even legal immigrants who are saying stuff like this. It's born and raised Americans. That it's like, do you not comprehend what law and order is? You've been raised, unlike me. I was raised here, but I wasn't born here. I was born in a country where we did not have law and order. Like most third world countries don't have that. That's why we come here, because y'all actually have an interest in law and order. So how does it make any sense to live in a country where we have Americans who were born and raised here, and for some odd reason, they have a problem with the laws being enforced? That's the part that gets me. It's like, I'm sorry. If you were born and raised here, what issues do you have with laws being enforced? If you have a problem with it, then go live in Cuba and tell me how you like it. Go live in Iran or North Korea. Go live in places where you don't have the same law and order as you do here. Well, actually, yeah, no, those places aren't. Yeah, those are actually good examples. Never mind. So to me, I just don't get it. I really don't. It doesn't stick in my brain how you can be so ignorant about why there's an immigration crackdown. Like, do you not comprehend that we just had millions of people cross the border? Do you not know what that means in real time? It means we don't know who's here. We don't know whether they have diseases or not. We don't know if they weren't vetted. So we don't even know if they're terrorists or they're part of Al-Qaeda or ISIS or Hezbollah or Hamas. We don't freaking know. So to me, it's incredible how people are like, oh my God, but they're my neighbors. Dude. If they're not supposed to be here, they need to get the hell out of here. If they don't have paperwork, they need to get out of here. And I'm an illegal immigrant. So if I'm saying that, why the hell aren't you saying that? I'm trying to figure this out. Like, straight up. I'm literally trying to figure this out. I just had a family member get deported. Okay? We just had a family member get deported. So in your logic, the liberal logic, I should be furious right now. But guess what? He got deported because he had an order of deportation. If you have an order of deportation, you are supposed to get deported. If your visa gets expired, you are supposed to get deported. Simple. That's literally how this works. If you go to a court hearing because your status is on limbo, like many people are, I have family members that are there, their statuses are in limbo right now. You go to the court, the judge says, no, I'm sorry, you don't have a reason to stay. Guess what? You gotta go. And you know what? As a legal migrant whose family members are A, have gotten already deported, or B, could possibly get deported, I understand the immigration crackdown. So why don't you, as an American citizen, why don't you? Do you not want to have a safe country? Do you not want to have, like, a clean environment where you can go and run at night? I'm a runner. If I want to run at night, I should be able to do that without questioning whether I'm going to get stabbed or jumped or raped or whatever, or shot at. That shouldn't even cross my mind. Because A, we're in a first world country. B, this is a law and order country. And C, this is the richest country in the world. Therefore, it should be the safest as well. Period. Doesn't matter whether you're a liberal, a conservative, a libertarian. If you're an American and you're raised and born in America, you should not have any problem with the immigration crackdown. Because at the end of the day, the objective is to keep you safe, to keep your children safe. That is the whole purpose of this. Forget about the emotions. At the end of the day, if they don't have legal status, they're not supposed to be here. That's it. That's it. There's no arguing that. That is law and order. That's it. It's that simple. Like, if I'm an immigrant, I'm saying that, y'all need to figure it out. Seriously. Like, it gets me upset how, like, ignorant people can be when it comes to that stuff. But hopefully people get it together. So let's watch this breaking news that happened. Church that got attacked. I'm honestly believing that, like, I think this is a Christian church. Christians are being attacked left and right. There's I don't know if you can look up this video with like a Nigerian saying that there's a genocide in Nigeria and Christians are being killed there left and right. If we can find that video, well, while you do that, I'm going to find it here because I know it's somewhere. I'm ready.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Danny Freeman sitting in for Frederica Whitfield, and we're beginning this hour with breaking news. A mass shooting at a Mormon church in Michigan has left one person dead and 9 others injured, including children. Police say the shooter rammed his truck through the front doors. At the same time, a large fire started at the church. Now, officials just gave a press conference a short time ago. Let's take a listen.
Here to give you some preliminary details on an incident that happened earlier today at 10:25 a.m. within Grambling Township. First off, I'd like to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this incident, which is completely unnecessary and avoidable. The incident that we're going to talk about here today, as I said, was happening at 10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located at 4285 McCandless Road. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grand Blanc Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure. That fire was just extinguished by the Grand Blanc Township Fire Department within the past hour. So where we go from here is we have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We had the FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information, statements that we have to obtain. So I'd like to thank all the agencies who responded, the City of Grand Blanc, Genesee County, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Flint Township Police Department, the DNR, the State Police, and the ATF. I will provide additional information for you at 5 p.m., but I am willing to take any questions that you have that I could possibly answer right now.
All right, that's it. All right, so that happened. And then not too long ago, we had, the shooting in that Catholic church happen. So I saw this video. I'm not sure if this is the right video or not, but if you go to playlist 56, I just saved it there. See if we can watch a little bit of that. I hope that's what it is. But, there's a bunch of people talking about this. So, we'll get the gist of what's going on in Nigeria. But it bothers me because we have churches, Christian churches, Catholic churches being attacked. And then Nigeria has been getting attacked. Like the Christians in Nigeria have been getting attacked for months now. And it hasn't really been getting any national coverage. People are covering it, but it's not like something that people really know about. It's not something that people are protesting about. There's only, I think, one Republican congressman who's said anything about this, which pisses me off because it should be all Republicans should be talking about this. And even Democrats who have faith should be also talking about this. But did you find it?
Yeah.
CBN
it's in your history.
Okay, yeah, that's it. All right, let's watch this really quick. We're not going to watch the whole thing.
These killings happened 3 nights ago in a village called Waki Village. And it is located in the southern part of Kaduna State, which is also part of the Middle Belt. And on Sunday night, about 10 o'clock, Fulani militants stormed the village of Waki and started shooting sporadically into the village. And they killed about 7 persons there were killed. And when the next village of Gidana Daji heard the gunshot, they decided to mobilize their local security and see if they could help out the people of Waki. As the youth from Gidana Daji were going to Waki village to see if they could help out, they were ambushed by the same Fulani headsmen, Fulani terrorists, and 2 of them were killed. bringing the number to about 9. So right now we have about 9 people killed, and about 5 were critically injured. I learned 1 also died, but I cannot confirm that. And the rest were taken to the hospital. A car was burnt and some houses were burnt. Now you will ask again, who are the perpetrators? Of course, they are Fulani militants. That is what we were told, because I was at Kachia yesterday, and what my people sources told me, they said they were shouting, Allahu Akbar, we will exterminate you, this infidel. That means Allah is great. We are going to wipe you off the face of the earth. And for
did
now,
did he just say Allah Akbar? Is that what he just said?
No.
What did he say?
Let's go back.
Cause I heard Akbar or something like that, and then he said, and then I heard infidel. There.
This infidel, that means Allah is great. We are going to wipe you off the face of the earth. And shouting Allahu Akbar, we will exterminate you.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did say that.
Infidel.
He did say. Yeah,
right.
I did say
you know
that.
what? That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. All right. So Islamist terrorists are killing Christians in Nigeria. Am I on?
Back? Yeah, you're back.
Right, cool. Ash is making so much noise. I need you. I know you're feeling good right now, but I don't need you to chill out. So, what I'm trying to figure out is these people that are, the Cenk Uyghurs of the world who are crying about the fact that the Gazans are being genocided. I don't know if that's a word. Genocided, whatever, you get it. Being killed, slaughtered, whatever. Why aren't you talking about the Nigerians who are being killed for being Christian by the Islamists? Why aren't you talking about that? Why aren't you talking about the fact that for some odd reason we have lunatics who I'm very certain are leftist who are killing people in Christian and Catholic churches? Why aren't you talking about that, Cenk? And all the other idiots on your side of the aisle? Because I think it's so, I wouldn't even say partisan. It's just a joke that you're crying about the fact that the Palestinians are being killed, right, by the Jews, but yet that's all you're focusing on. If you really want to focus on genocide, then why don't you focus on the genocide that's happening to everybody who's being attacked? Christians have been attacked for months already. Like, this came to my attention this week, and then I started looking into it. I'm like, oh my God, people have been reporting about, like, look, 2 months ago, 50 Christians gruesomely murdered in Nigeria. Let me see another one here. 1 month ago, Christian genocide in Nigeria. 2 months ago, massacre of Christians in Druze and Syria. Like, you can literally look this stuff up, and they're not reporting it though. Cenk, if you really care about genocide, why aren't you reporting the genocide that's happening in Nigeria? Why are you only focusing on Gaza? Because if you want to talk about intensity, there's actually more intensity in Nigeria than it is in Gaza. But you're not talking about Nigeria. So it makes me think you're full of shit. It makes me think people like you are just trying to inflate this idea that, oh my God, we care about Gazans and we care about humanity. But no, you don't. You don't. You only care about the people that you want to care about, which means you don't really care about humanity. You care about a selective type of people. You don't care about everybody. Because if you were truly a humanitarian, if you're really a pro-humanity guy, then you would be reporting what's going on in Nigeria. And you didn't at all. Completely tone deaf with what's going on in Nigeria. So to me, anybody who says that what's going on in Gaza is a genocide and you have completely ignored the genocide that's happening right now in Nigeria, you're full of it. You're absolutely full of it. You don't really believe in humanity. You don't really believe in caring about people. You care about a narrative. You want to push a narrative. You want people to believe that the only people who are being oppressed are the Gazans, when that's not true. That is not true. And you know that. Because if you're really a reporter, Cenk, you would be reporting that. And I'm sure you probably do. But again, it's not part of the narrative. So you don't want to push that. You want people to only focus on what you want to report about. And that's why, to me, progressives are deceitful people. They're not liberals. They're deceitful people. Because a liberal actually would report on everything. They don't report on everything. They report on what they want you to believe. That is deceitful. That is devilish. And I'm not even I'm not even like a Christian, honestly, because I don't go to church. You know, I mean, I wear my cross. I have a tattoo of a cross. I do believe in I definitely have very strong faith in religion and in God. But I'm not a, Bible thumper, I guess, or I don't know. I've never even read the Bible, so I'm not even there. I'm in the camp of, if you believe in humanity and you are against genocide, then you should be against all genocide across the board, and you're not. None of you are. You're all liars. You're all deceitful, and all you want to do is push a narrative. It's to get people that are extremely radical to create more chaos. And honestly, what you're really doing is you're encouraging them to be pro-terrorism. Because everybody who's pro-Palestine, they sympathize with Hamas. And they don't even know they're sympathizing with Hamas, because you've been pushing this agenda for so long, for so many years, that you literally have indoctrinated a generation of young people to be pro-terrorism, which is, to me, disgusting. Because you claim you're a humanitarian and you're not. You're full of shit. Cenk Uygur and everybody on the left that's progressive, not liberals, progressive, you're all full of it. And I had to say that. That wasn't even a part of what I had to say, but it irked me. It irked me because I saw that today and I was like, oh, I got to bring it up. So another deceitful person is the Colombian president who got his visa revoked. Y menos mal. Te lo mereces. Come mierda. All right, I'm ready. If you don't understand what I said, sucks to suck.
The U.S. State Department says it will cancel the visa of Colombian President Gustavo Petro over what it calls his reckless and incendiary actions in New York. Petro stood on a city street on Friday urging U.S. soldiers to disobey the orders of President Trump and obey the orders of humanity.
Tiene que ser más grande que el de los Estados Unidos. Por eso, desde aquí, desde Nueva York, le pido a todos los soldados del ejército de los Estados Unidos no apuntar contra la humanidad sus fusiles. Desobedezcan la orden de Trump. Obedezcan la orden de la humanidad.
Colombia's Caracol Radio reports that Petro was already heading back home when the State Department made its announcement. The Colombian leader was in New York for the UN General Assembly. US delegates walked out as Petro spoke on Tuesday. He called for a criminal investigation against Donald Trump over this month's deadly attacks in the Caribbean on boats at the White House.
He's calling for a criminal investigation.
This guy's crazy.
The country that literally had a huge cocaine operation in the 80s is calling for a criminal investigation.
Hey, soldiers of America, commit treason because I said so.
Bro, do you understand? Okay, ¿por qué las personas son tan estúpidas? Like, all right, I said, why are people so stupid? Like, how are you, a president from another country who has zero influence in the world, by the way, okay? Zero, nada, zip. Is gonna go to New York City, which is part of the United States, by the way. I'm not sure if he's aware of that. And literally say, disobey, he was talking to soldiers, disobey the orders of the commander-in-chief and obey humanity. Like, humanity is what? What is humanity to you? What is humanity? If you really cared about humanity, your country wouldn't be a shithole.
That dude sounds like a dictator.
Like, humanity is that like their way of now? That's their new thing now. That's the new word, humanity. We need to focus on humanity. It's such a like a generic term. Okay, what are you talking about? Why aren't you focusing on Colombians? How about that? How about you focus on Colombians? How about you fix your cartel problem? How about you fix your cocaine problem? How about that? Like, I'm trying to figure out What makes this guy think he can just like, and the fact that he had the audacity to go on X and lie, because that's what they do, they're deceitful. He lied and said, oh, the reason why I got my visa revoked is because this guy is... Oh God, Ash, you're funny.
Yeah, man. We have our dog. He's under her.
He's having a good old time.
That wasn't a snore. He's awake. That was like a sigh.
That was a sigh. What are you trying to say, bro? He literally, I don't know if you can find it, but he literally said that the reason why he got his visa revoked is because Donald Trump is trying to like stop him from using his First Amendment right or something like that. Pedro. Just say Colombian President Petro made a statement on X after getting his visa revoked. I'm sure it's there because everybody's talking about this idiot, and it's like, what makes you think the fact that first of all, you said what you said, right? And then you lie about why they revoked your visa. And it's like, dude, they revoked your visa because you literally told soldiers to disobey the president. Like, that's why your visa got revoked. You literally told soldiers, commit treason, bro. Commit treason for humanity. Like, what is wrong with you? Did you find it? No? It's okay. Whatever. People can look for it. They really care. But I just thought that was funny because, I mean, it just comes to show that people think that they can just say whatever they want. And it's like, you're not an American citizen. If he was an American citizen, he would have been able to get away with that. No problem. Would he get pushback? Definitely. But if you're a president of a country, you definitely need to be wiser about the words you use in a country that you don't govern. You don't govern the United States. Okay? Technically, we govern you, Petro. So I'm trying to figure out what made that guy even think he was able to say that. But hey, I'm glad you said it. Your visa has been revoked. And guess what? I hope you don't bring it back. I hope you don't ever get to come back to this country because clearly you were inciting treason. So you should never, ever, ever be allowed in this country. Ever. But that's just me. All right. Another person who should, I don't know if he's guilty or not, but, I think he is guilty, but whatever. James Comey. James Comey, I think you're super cooked. But let's listen to this really quick.
The day after a federal grand jury indicted former FBI Director James Comey, President Trump said the charges were not motivated by retribution.
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people, and they can't get away with it.
Friday, the president predicted more of his political rivals could face charges.
No, there'll be others. Look, that's my opinion. They weaponized the Justice Department like nobody in history. What they've done is terrible.
Comey is set to be arraigned next month on one count of obstruction of a congressional proceeding and one count of making a false statement related to his 2020 Senate testimony when he denied authorizing leaking information to the media.
The only problem is for him, he didn't think it'd be caught, and he got caught.
The president's comments potentially will have a profound impact on this case. For one thing, it is unique in American history to have a president so directly commenting on a criminal proceeding, essentially directing the indictment and making it happen of a political opponent.
Soon after the indictment was announced Thursday, Comey declared his innocence.
But I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial.
Yep, let's have a trial.
And keep the faith.
Eric Siebert, the former top prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia, declined to prosecute Comey and was replaced by Trump's former personal attorney and White House aide, Lindsey Halligan, who secured an indictment. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Well, CBS News. Nobody cares about you. All right, so I love it how that guy said, oh, it's precedent that there's never been a time, and it's like, what are you talking about? There was never a time where they indicted a sitting president, which they did to him like 34 times. Like, there was never a time where a state tried to remove a president off a ballot when he had already been president. There's a lot of things that have been happening that had never happened before. So clearly that guy was super partisan, but we're going to listen to another partisan guy. Let's listen to this guy.
So I just got my hands on the Comey indictment, and let me tell you what it's for. It is for, allegedly, on September 30th, 2020, that Senate Judiciary Committee hearing I told you about last time, where Comey allegedly, falsely, asserted that he had not, quote, authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning person one. Who is person one? We don't know. Is it Hillary? Is it Trump? We don't know. The statement was false, the indictment says, because Comey knew he had in fact had authorized person three to serve as an anonymous source. Who is person three? We're looking into that too. My sources do tell me that this has to do with an FBI leak investigation that was called at the time Arctic Haze, Haze, which dealt with 4 news stories, 2 in the Washington Post, 1 in the Wall Street Journal, 1 in the New York Times, in April and May of 2017. So we're trying to get more information. This is all breaking right now. Let us take 1 second and reflect on what an unprecedented moment we're in, where an FBI director has been indicted, and what an unprecedented moment we're in, where President Trump fires one acting U.S. attorney because allegedly he's not bringing charges against his political opponents quickly enough, tells the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, publicly that she needs to get cracking because there are cases against his political opponents, including Comey, that he wants brought forward as soon as possible, and that Lindsay Halligan, who is now the acting U.S. attorney, will bring those charges. That's the suggestion in his Truth Social post. And here we are. That has exactly happened.
All right. Notice how they're using the same rhetoric. It's precedented. It's never happened before. It's never happened before. So, I mean, like I said, a sitting president had never been charged before. A sitting president had never gotten a mugshot before. So, a lot of things have never happened before that are currently happening. We're literally living and in history in the making, literally. So, what I think is funny is that when they do it to the right, it's fair, it's justice, it's upholding the law, right? Nobody's above the law. But when the left, it's being done to them, it's unfair, it's unprecedented, it's never been done before, there's no real justification for it. No, that's not how this works. You already opened the door for weaponization. I don't think there's weaponization. I think there's actually something there. And the left doesn't want to accept that there possibly could be something there. Because God forbid there was. And they end up being so wrong about so many things. So, which they already are, but nonetheless, we don't have the proof just yet. I'm just speculating here. But you already opened the door to it when you did it to Donald Trump. You already did it. And you thought it was okay to have done it. So if you thought it was okay to do it, and you didn't even succeed, because if you weren't have succeeded, you wouldn't be happening. This wouldn't even be happening right now, but you didn't succeed. So now get ready, bro. He said it. He's not going to be the only one who's going to get it. He's coming after everybody. And you know what? At the end of the day, you shouldn't have tried to ruin his life. You shouldn't have tried to take his money away. You shouldn't have raided his home. You shouldn't have done everything you did to him. So now you're going to have to suffer the consequences. And at the end of the day, some people will say, well, that's vengeful. That's weaponization. Well, guess what? That's part of the game. If you were not ready to play, you shouldn't have started. They started it. Well, he's continuing it. That's the game, bro. And at the end of the day, that indictment was done by a jury of his peers. And they decided there was enough evidence to actually charge. So, like he said, he's ready for the trial. So if he's ready for the trial, I'm ready too. I want to know if he's really guilty or not. I want to know what's going on. And at the end of the day, didn't they say that all the convictions with Donald Trump were true? Okay, well, guess what? If there is conviction on James Comey, guess what? They're also true. You can't have one without the other, home. Can't have one without the other. So I'm looking forward to this. And you know what? He already said he's not going to be the only one. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. So let's end it with pending government shutdown.
And joining me now is Senate Minority Leader, Democrat Chuck Schumer of New York. Leader Schumer, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good morning. Glad you're in New York.
Well, we are thrilled to be in New York. Thank you so much for being here in person. We really appreciate it. I have to start off by talking about this big meeting at the White House on Monday. President Trump, all of the congressional leaders. How did it come about, and could this be a sign that you can get a deal done?
Well, first, how it came about. You know, we Democrats have been pushing for a meeting and a real negotiation, which they haven't done. They've just done their own bill.
They don't have.
And so I called John
Thune
Friday afternoon, and I said, come on. Let's sit down. The only way we're going to get this done is a serious negotiation. And we need the president as part of it. We need Speaker Johnson. Let the four leaders and the president sit down. And Saturday evening, we got a call from the White House that they would do it Monday at 2 p.m. So we're delighted. It's a good first step, Kristen.
You think you can keep the government open, or you think you're headed for a shutdown?
Well, it depends on the Republicans. You know, we need.
No, it doesn't. It depends on the Democrats.
A first step, but only a first step. We need a serious negotiation. Now, if the president at this meeting is going to rant and just yell at Democrats and talk about all his alleged grievances and say this, that, and the other thing, we won't get anything done. But my hope is it'll be a serious negotiation. You know, I saw Leader Thune say there were many serious negotiations. We didn't shut the government down when they were in the minority. You know why? Because I, as majority leader, sat down and negotiated with them. And we had to come to a compromise where neither side got everything it wanted. So if they're serious, I'm hopeful we can get something real done.
Speaking of Leader Thune, he just gave us a new statement about this meeting. Let me read it to you. You can respond. He says, rank and file Democrats are getting nervous, and Senator Schumer is too. The far left has painted them into an unsustainable corner, and they know it. Hopefully, Senator Schumer sees the light and listens to the same voice that walked him and his colleagues away from the edge of a shutdown in March. If a White House meeting helps him get there, I welcome the opportunity. Fundamentally, nothing has changed, though, and the choice remains the same. Democrats can either vote for a clean, short-term, nonpartisan CR that prioritizes the American people, or they can choose a completely avoidable shutdown that prioritizes politics above all else.
Such
Your
a genius
reaction,
move
and
they're
would
doing.
you accept a deal, Leader Schumer, that doesn't include an extension of those Obamacare subsidies?
Well, first, the bottom line is very simple, Kristen. It's up to them.
No,
if they
it's not.
come
It's
into
up
the
to
meeting to
Democrats.
seriously negotiate, and the reason
have no
we've been
cards,
pushing for months,
Schumer.
we've been resolute.
No leverage.
That we need a meeting, that we need a real negotiation, that you don't do this
You
by
can't
one
negotiate
party
when you don't have any
putting
cards to
together a
negotiate
completely
with,
partisan
homeboy.
bill and saying take it or leave it. So they felt the heat. The president at first said no. Remember, he first said yes for a meeting, then he said no for a meeting. He went on a rant against Democrats. But I think they felt the heat, and they now want to sit down. But the fundamental question hasn't been answered yet, and we'll see on Monday. Are they serious about negotiating with us in a real way? We have two concerns. The first is health care. Our health care situation is a shambles, in good part because of what the Republicans did in the BBB, their so-called big, beautiful bill. Now they want to change the name of it because they know it's not very popular. I think 68% of Americans don't like it. And so it's a mess. We're representing the people everywhere I go and my colleagues go throughout the
Where do you go?
Country. Red, blue, purple. People are saying, oh my God, you got to change this. People are losing their jobs. Rural hospitals are closing. People are going to get notices of $4,000 a year increase in their premiums. So our job is to represent the people of America. So far, they've stonewalled and said, we're not discussing any of that. And we'll see if it changes on Tuesday.
Okay, well, President Trump, as
on Monday.
Yeah,
Monday.
well, President Trump, as you know, is threatening mass firings of federal workers, thousands of them, he says. Back in March when you were talking to the Republicans.
Okay, all right. So this is what's happening because this guy is such a fucking liar. Such a liar. The CR has already been agreed on in Congress. They've already agreed on this. It's now in the Senate to agree on it, okay? And they don't need everybody in the Democrats in the Senate to agree. They just need a couple of people, and that's it. Schumer needs to play ball because at the end of the day, you have 0 cards. You have no leverage. What they're trying to negotiate with is non-negotiable. They're not going to accept the Obama subsidies for under COVID because COVID is over. They're not going to do that. They want to revoke the parts of the BBB, like allowing illegal immigrants to get Medicaid. That's not going to happen. They're not going to revoke a law that was just passed like 2 months ago. Like that's just dumb. It's a terrible negotiation tactic. The reality is you have 0 cards. He knows it. He's blaming it on the Republicans when the Republicans literally are holding everything. They got the Senate. They got Congress. They got the White House. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They are literally pinning you to the wall and they're telling you if you don't vote on this, it's you are the one voting on a government shutdown, not us. We came up with the CR in order to negotiate later on. If you don't vote on the CR, you're the one who's going to want the government shutdown. And guess what? If the government shuts down, then those funds are not going to be able to be appropriated to certain programs, and people are going to have to get fired because if we can't pay them, they can't work. It's that simple. They're literally putting them to the wall and they're saying either you sign the CR or it'll be your fault while people are getting fired. Not our fault, your fault for not wanting to sign the CR. Because at the end of the day, you got no leverage. This is politics. If you have no leverage, no cards, guess what? You're pinned to the wall. You're cooked. And guess what? If they don't, and they want to play hardball and they don't sign that CR and the government shut down, guess what? Republicans are going to use that all day, every day. Election season is coming up all day, every day. Democrats are the ones who shut down the government. It's their fault. They're the ones who caused the mass firings, not us. We wanted them to pass that CR. They didn't want to. They're the ones who got people fired. And at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to get handed to by the left, who are the ones who are really going to care about that. Because the reality is, most people on the right don't give a shit about a government shutting down. We don't. I don't. I don't really know anybody that really cares. Because at the end of the day, most of us work for the private sector anyway. So if the government shuts down, we still get paid. That's the beauty of working for a private company. We're going to get paid because we work, we actually work. No offense to those who work for the federal government. But if you work good or you work bad, you get paid. If I work bad, I don't get paid. That's the difference between private and public. So Democrats, you're pinned to the wall. He got you. You're done. You're cooked. You either sign the CR or it'll be your fault the government shuts down, which is a beautiful chess move. I don't play chess, but man, do I see the positions being played. And I love it. Because at the end of the day, I may not like chess, but I like politics. And politics is a game, and I love to play. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what I have to say, if you don't like what I have to say, it doesn't matter. Subscribe, like, and share. Become a truth seeker, and I'll see you guys next time.